Welcome to our deep dive. We're going exploring Spiritism.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. We're using Spiritism easily explained.
By Alan Kardec, a classic.
It really is. It lays everything out so clearly.
It's a great starting point.
Exactly, like Spiritism 101.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes pretty deep, too.
It does. We'll cover some complex ideas.
We will. Get ready to discover things like, spirits evolving over multiple lifetimes and even have guardian angels.
A lot of people find those concepts really fascinating.
Yeah, for sure. But to understand all that, we need to start with, well, the beginning.
You mean with God?
Yeah. But not just any concept of God.
You're right. Spiritism has a specific view.
So, how would you describe the Spiritist view of God?
Well, it starts with the familiar. God is the supreme intelligence, eternal, infinite, all-powerful.
The creator of everything.
Exactly. But here's where Spiritism gets really interesting. God created not only the physical world, but also spirits.
Okay, so not just stars and planets, but these unseen beings.
Yes. And these spirits are intelligent beings who manage the worlds according to God's laws.
Wow. So God created the universe and these forces that shape it.
That's the idea.
It's a lot to wrap your head around. So what exactly are these spirits? Like, what are they made of?
It's not like they're physical beings, right?
Right. So what's the Spiritist explanation?
Imagine a being of pure energy, sort of like a soul. And this soul is surrounded by a subtle body.
A subtle body.
Yeah, it's called the paraspirit. It allows the spirit to interact with the world.
Okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
spirits are energy with a paraspirit to connect them to the physical world.
Precisely. And here's another key idea. Spirits aren't static. They start simple and, well, kind of ignorant.
They have a lot to learn.
They do, but they have this amazing potential to grow and learn, evolve towards God over, get this, many lifetimes.
Hold on. Multiple lifetimes. Are we talking about reincarnation here?
We are. It's a core concept in Spiritism. And it's not seen as punishment, but rather a necessary process of development.
Interesting. So each earthly life is a chance for the spirit to, level up?
You could say that. Each life is a chance to learn, grow, shed imperfections, and move closer to God.
It makes you think about our ideas of good and evil. If spirits are always evolving, are those labels even, permanent?
That's a great point. It challenges traditional ideas of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
If we're all on this journey of growth, then eternal punishment doesn't really fit, does it?
That's what I was thinking. It seems more like we're all just at different points on the same path.
Exactly. We're all striving to reach the same destination, but we're all traveling at our own pace.
It's kind of comforting in a way.
It is. It removes that fear of eternal damnation.
But it also raises some questions, like, if we're all on this path of growth, how does suffering sit in? Why do bad things happen to good people?
That's a question that has puzzled philosophers for centuries, but Spiritism offers a different perspective.
Okay, I'm curious. What's the Spiritist view on suffering?
Well, it doesn't shy away from the tough stuff. Spiritism sees suffering as a consequence of past actions, but it also sees it as an opportunity for future growth.
So it's not just punishment, but a chance to learn from mistakes.
Precisely. Imagine it like this. You start a new school year, right?
Yeah, I remember those days.
But imagine you still have unfinished homework from the previous year. You're responsible for catching up. But it's also a chance to learn from those past mistakes.
So it's like we're carrying baggage from past lives. And that baggage can sometimes manifest as suffering in this life.
Exactly. It's not about divine retribution. It's about accountability and progress.
So God isn't punishing us, but we're experiencing the natural consequences of our actions.
Yes, but it's not a hopeless situation. God doesn't punish eternally for limited mistakes. It's about correction and improvement.
So there's always hope for redemption.
Always. God's mercy is boundless. The chance to learn and grow never goes away.
This is making me rethink everything I thought I knew about God and the afterlife. But okay, if these past lives are so important in shaping who we are, why don't we remember them?
That's a question many people ask.
Yeah.
And Spiritism actually suggests it's God's grace.
Really? How so?
Well, think about it. Those memories could be overwhelming, even debilitating for us in our current lives.
Yeah, I can see that. It would be hard to focus on the present if we were constantly reliving the past.
Exactly. So it's like we're given a fresh start with each life, a clean slate to focus on the present lessons and challenges.
Like a cosmic reset button,
Yeah.
giving us a chance to move forward without being bogged down by, well, all that past baggage.
Exactly. Now, this whole idea of carrying burdens from the past leads us to another interesting concept: original sin.
Ah, yes. That's
Yeah.
one that's always bothered me a bit. Like, why should we be held responsible for something Adam and Eve did?
It does seem a little unfair, doesn't it? Well, Spiritism takes a different approach. Remember, we're talking about multiple lives here. So those sins aren't about Adam and Eve, but rather the imperfections we carry forward from our own past actions.
So it's less about inheriting someone else's transgression and more about, like, dealing with our own karmic baggage.
You got it. And it's not about punishment. It's a consequence of our choices. We're responsible for cleaning up our own messes, so to speak.
It makes a lot more sense that way. So personal responsibility is the big theme in Spiritism. We're not just victims of fate, but active participants in our own spiritual evolution.
Absolutely. We have free will and the power to choose our path, not just in this life, but across multiple lifetimes.
That's a really empowering concept. It puts us in the driver's seat of our own spiritual destiny. But where does Jesus fit into all of this?
That's a great question. If we're all on this path of growth, what role does Christ play in the Spiritist view?
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear how Spiritism views Jesus.
Spiritism sees Christ as a pivotal figure. He came to complete the teachings of Moses, offering a more elevated message.
Building on the foundation laid by previous prophets.
Exactly. A message focused on love and charity.
So love and charity are essential for spiritual growth.
They are. In fact, Spiritism views Christ's teachings as the ultimate guide for spiritual evolution. But it goes a step further. It aims to bridge the gap between faith and, well, what we can actually observe.
So not just believing blindly, but seeking evidence.
That's a big part of it. Spiritism encourages investigation and critical thinking, seeking knowledge and understanding, not blind acceptance.
That's a powerful idea.
Right.
It's not about just taking things on faith, but really trying to understand the why behind our beliefs.
It is. And it encourages us to keep learning, keep questioning, keep seeking truth.
That resonates with me. So if we're all on this path of spiritual evolution, are we headed toward a more enlightened future? Or are we doomed to just repeat the same cycles of, suffering and conflict?
Well, Spiritism actually offers a surprisingly optimistic outlook. It sees a future where humanity embraces those key principles: love, charity, understanding, and it believes this will lead to a more harmonious and peaceful world.
That's a beautiful vision. A world where people are more loving and compassionate.
It is, but, it also acknowledges that not everyone is evolving at the same pace.
Okay, so are we talking about different levels of spiritual development?
Exactly. And Spiritism suggests that those who cling to negativity, those who aren't ready to embrace those higher principles, well, they might find themselves drawn to worlds that better suit their current state of growth.
So it's like a cosmic sorting hat, sending spirits to the environments where they can learn and grow best.
That's a great analogy. It's not punishment, but about giving each spirit the best setting for their development.
I love that idea. It's like a cosmic school system with different grades for spirits evolving at different paces. But there's always hope for progress, right?
Always. Remember, Spiritism is about progress, not punishment. Every spirit has the potential to learn, grow, and eventually graduate to those more advanced worlds.
That's really reassuring. So if Earth is like a school for some spirits, are there tougher environments for those who haven't quite learned the lessons yet? Like, are there harsher realms out there?
That's an interesting question, and one that we'll dive into in more detail after a short break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Spiritism. Before the break, we were talking about Earth as this kind of training ground for spirits.
With varying degrees of success, I'd say. Some spirits breeze through the lessons, while others, well, they might need a few extra lifetimes.
Right, like in any school, you have those eager learners and then the ones who maybe need a little extra help along the way.
A cosmic summer school.
Exactly. But those super spirits we were discussing, the ones who choose to come back even though they've already aced the course, those are the ones who really fascinate me.
It's almost like they're retaking a class they've already mastered just to help out their classmates.
Yeah. Like, why would they do that? I mean, would they rather move on to something more challenging?
Spiritism suggests that these highly evolved spirits are motivated by a profound love for humanity.
So they come back, not out of some sense of duty or obligation,
Yeah.
but out of genuine compassion.
Exactly. They return to Earth, not because they have to, but because they want to help us on our journey toward enlightenment.
That's amazing. Thinking about all these different levels of spiritual development really puts things in perspective. It's not about being good or bad, but more about, where we are on this vast spectrum of growth.
Precisely. And within that spectrum, Spiritism offers a really hopeful message. It suggests that no matter where we are in our journey, we all have the capacity to learn, grow, and eventually reach those more harmonious realms we discussed.
Those peaceful planets with no traffic jams. I can't wait. But jokes aside, I imagine many people listening, myself included, are wondering how we can, make the most of our time here on Earth.
Yeah.
How can we progress on this path of spiritual evolution?
Well, Spiritism reminds us that we're not alone in this. We have those spiritual guides or guardian angels who are always watching over us. They offer guidance and support every step of the way.
It's like having a personal spiritual coach in our corner, whispering words of wisdom, even if we don't always hear them.
That's a great way to put it. They're constantly trying to nudge us in the right direction to help us learn the lessons we need to learn.
Maybe that's what my intuition is. My guardian angel trying to steer me toward healthier choices.
Perhaps. But whether we recognize their guidance or not, their presence is a constant reminder that we are loved and supported, even when we feel lost or alone.
That's a really comforting thought.
Yeah.
So even amidst all the chaos and challenges of life, we have this unseen support system cheering us on.
Absolutely. And that support is always available to us, whether we're aware of it or not. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about how the study of Spiritism itself plays into all of this.
Yeah, where does Spiritism fit into this big picture of spiritual evolution? Is it just another religion or is it something more?
That's one of the most fascinating things about Spiritism. It doesn't claim to be a religion in the traditional sense. Instead, it sees itself as a science of the soul.
So instead of blind faith, it's about seeking evidence, understanding, the mechanics of the spiritual world.
Exactly. Spiritism encourages investigation, critical thinking. It's about asking questions, seeking evidence, and forming your own understanding of the spiritual realities that shape our lives.
I love that. It empowers individuals to explore and discover for themselves rather than just passively accepting what they're told. But if Spiritism isn't a religion, what's its ultimate goal? What does it hope to achieve?
Ultimately, Spiritism aims to help humanity evolve toward a more enlightened state, both individually and collectively. It offers a framework for understanding our place in the universe, the purpose of life, and the path to true happiness.
So it's like a roadmap for spiritual growth, helping us understand where we are, where we're going, and how to get there. It's a powerful tool for personal transformation.
It is, but Spiritism also talks about a brighter future for humanity as a whole. We're at a turning point, a cosmic shift is taking place.
Interesting. So as the Earth evolves, it's becoming less hospitable to those who are clinging to negativity and selfishness.
Exactly. It's almost like the Earth is going through its own spiritual growth spurt.
Shedding old patterns and making room for a more evolved way of being.
Precisely. And as this shift happens, those who aren't in alignment with this new vibration will naturally gravitate toward environments that better suit their current level of development.
It's like a natural sorting process, ensuring that each spirit finds the optimal setting for their growth.
Yeah.
It's incredible to think about the Earth evolving alongside the spirits who inhabit it.
It is. It's a dynamic process, a constant dance between the physical and the spiritual.
But what does all of this mean for those of us who are trying to align with this new energy, this new vibration? What can we expect as we move into this new era?
Well, Spiritism offers a really beautiful vision of the future. It sees a world where humanity embraces love, charity, and understanding, creating a more harmonious and peaceful world.
That's a beautiful vision, but it also feels a little idealistic. I mean,
Yeah.
change doesn't happen overnight. How do we get from the often chaotic present to that brighter future?
Does Spiritism offer any practical advice on how to navigate this transition?
Spiritism emphasizes that real change starts within each individual. It's not about waiting for some external force to fix things,
Mhm.
but about taking responsibility for our own thoughts, emotions, and actions.
So less finger pointing and more self-reflection.
Exactly. It's about recognizing our own negative tendencies, those all too human flaws that can lead to suffering and discord.
Things like selfishness, pride, judgment, those patterns that can keep us stuck in those cycles of negativity.
Precisely. Spiritism suggests that by cultivating virtues like love, compassion, humility, we can gradually transform ourselves and contribute to a more harmonious world. It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. It all starts with our own individual transformation.
Absolutely. And remember, Spiritism recognizes that we're all works in progress. It doesn't expect perfection, but encourages continuous effort and self-improvement.
So it's not about reaching some final destination, but about embracing the journey itself.
Exactly. It's about the journey, not the destination. And knowing that we have multiple lifetimes to learn and grow allows us to approach life's challenges with a bit more patience and perseverance.
It takes the pressure off needing to get it all perfect in this one go-round.
It does. And it reminds us that even if we stumble or fall short, we always have another chance to get back up and keep moving forward.
It shifts the focus from a fear of failure to a mindset of, of continuous growth and learning.
Exactly. It's about embracing the journey, learning from our mistakes, and celebrating our progress along the way.
So with that in mind, are there any specific things we can do to make the most of these multiple lifetimes? Any tips for, leveling up our spirits?
While there are no guaranteed shortcuts, Spiritism does highlight a few key principles that can guide us. One is the importance of seeking knowledge and understanding.
So not just blindly accepting what we're told, but actively engaging with spiritual truth.
Exactly. Spiritism encourages us to expand our understanding of the spiritual world, studying, researching, exploring different perspectives.
So knowledge is power, but it sounds like Spiritism also emphasizes the importance of putting that knowledge into action.
That's key. It's not enough to just talk the talk. We have to walk the walk.
So it's about living in accordance with those principles.
Mm.
Love, charity, compassion.
Precisely. Our actions are seen as a direct reflection of our spiritual state.
It's one thing to learn about love and compassion in theory, but it's another to actually embody those qualities in our daily interactions with others.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that every choice we make, every action we take, has an impact not just on ourselves, but on the world around us.
It's powerful to think about those choices having such a profound effect, not just in this life, but across multiple lifetimes. It makes you really consider the consequences of your actions.
It does. And it encourages us to live more consciously, to strive to make choices that align with those higher principles.
But with all this talk of action and evolution, does Spiritism have anything to say about the afterlife itself? What happens when we leave this earthly plane?
That's a question that has intrigued humanity for centuries. And it's one that Spiritism addresses in great detail. It offers a unique and, I think, comforting perspective on what lies beyond this physical existence.
Well, this seems like a good point to pause and delve into that topic after a short break. We've covered a lot of ground so far, exploring the concept of Earth as this spiritual training ground, those guardian angels looking out for us, and the importance of personal transformation.
And in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore what Spiritism has to say about what happens after we graduate from this earthly school.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of Spiritism.
Mhm.
We've explored so many fascinating ideas, from the concept of Earth as a spiritual training ground to the roles those super spirits play in our evolution. But now, let's get to what happens after we graduate. What does Spiritism say about the afterlife?
Well, it's not about those pearly gates or fiery pits that we often hear about. Spiritism views the afterlife as a continuation of our spiritual journey. It's not an end, but a transition.
So no harp playing on clouds.
Not quite. Think of it this way. When we die, our spirit simply sheds its physical body.
Like taking off a heavy coat after a long winter.
Exactly. And what's left is the essence of who we are. Our thoughts, emotions, memories. All of that continues on in the spiritual realm.
So we don't lose our individuality.
Not at all. We maintain our unique personality, strengths, and yes, even our weaknesses. We continue to evolve in the afterlife just as we do here.
That makes sense. So it's less about reaching some state of static perfection, is more about, continuing on that path of growth and learning.
Precisely. And just as we see different levels of spiritual development here on Earth, the afterlife also offers a wide range of experiences. Where a spirit ends up depends on their progress on that evolutionary path.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all afterlife.
Not at all. Some spirits might find themselves in realms of incredible beauty and harmony, while others might gravitate toward environments that reflect their current level of understanding. They might need different lessons to continue evolving.
Kind of like different neighborhoods in the afterlife, each tailored to the needs of its residents.
That's a great way to visualize it. Spiritism does describe a sort of hierarchy of spiritual realms. Each one vibrates at a different level of energy and consciousness. Those higher realms, they're said to be filled with light, love, and advanced knowledge.
And those were inhabited by the spirits who have reached a higher level of maturity.
Yes, those who have shed a lot of those earthly burdens.
Those picture-perfect planets, sign me up.
You and me both. But remember, Spiritism is all about progress, not punishment. Even those in lower realms, they're not doomed to eternal suffering. They have chances to heal, learn, and eventually move on to those more harmonious realms.
That's a really comforting thought. So even after physical death, there's still hope for growth and redemption.
Always. There's no final judgment, no eternal damnation. It's all about learning and evolving.
But if we're always evolving, is there, like, an end goal? What's the ultimate destination on this spiritual journey?
Spiritism suggests the ultimate goal is to achieve a state of pure love and wisdom,
Wow.
to become one with the divine source we all come from. But it's not something we just, snap our fingers and achieve. It's a gradual process over many lifetimes, here on Earth and in the spiritual realms.
So the journey itself is the destination.
Exactly. And with each step, we're not only evolving individually, but contributing to the harmony and evolution of the universe itself.
It's a beautiful concept. It's mind-blowing to think that we're all part of this grand, interconnected web of, well, of spiritual energy.
It really is. And it offers a way of looking at life and death that is both intellectually stimulating and emotionally comforting.
I agree. It's given me so much to think about. It's a whole new way of seeing the world and our place in it.
And that's really what Spiritism is all about. Encouraging us to think differently, to question, and to explore these deeper truths about ourselves and the universe.
It's about recognizing our power to choose, to grow, and to contribute to something bigger than ourselves. It's empowering.
Absolutely. It's a message of hope, growth, and the boundless potential of the human spirit.
This deep dive into Spiritism has been incredible. I've learned so much, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
Me too. It's been a fascinating journey.
As we wrap up, what final thought would you leave our listeners with?
Keep exploring. Keep asking questions. Don't be afraid to challenge your beliefs and to search for those deeper truths that resonate with you.
That's great advice. And maybe, as we all ponder these ideas and apply them to our own lives, we can all play a part in creating that more harmonious and enlightened future that Spiritism envisions.
I truly believe we can. The power to create a better world lies within each of us.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of Spiritism. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
It's been a pleasure. Until next time.